it's really elevating the rec sports experience for the youth. Like I said earlier, it's not just wearing a t-shirt with a local sponsor anywhere. You get some really cool sublimated jerseys and opportunity to play like the pros.
Welcome to Sponsorable, a podcast that brings together sports organizers and brand leaders to talk about the business of grassroots sports. I'm Garrett, and I've spent the past 20 years in the youth sports industry, where I've built nationally televised sporting events and corporate sponsorship programs. I wanted to create this podcast to bring in experts from the youth sports industry and share what they do in the space and how they do it. Today's guest is going to be Mark Robinson. Mark is the VP of League Growth at RCX Sports. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about how pro sports is partnering up with youth sports to create great experiences for kids and parents across the country. All right. Hey, Mark, thanks so much for joining. One, it's great to have you on. Two, great to see you. So would love to talk about kind of and let's start with your career and where you've come from and where you currently are through the world of youth sports.
Yeah, Garrett, thanks for having me. It's always fun talking this industry with you. And I was kind of doing my research on my own career background, and it's been 15 plus years of working in the business of sports, which is aging me a little bit, but it's been an exciting adventure. I've kind of hit every aspect of the industry. I've worked in college athletics, coaching football at Elon University and Johns Hopkins, and then working at a high school sports network, which was a really cool experience called MSG Varsity back in the day. Then switched over to the tech side, running strategic partnerships at Huddle, which is the video analysis company, which was a incredible company, and they're doing great things in the space. Did a stint at Game Changer and USA Football, the NGB side with USA Football, and now I'm at RCX Sports, which is a great spot, and working with our professional leagues, like building and growing the rec sports space for youth across the country.
Now, that's awesome. So it is amazing to kind of look back at your career and you see some of the great companies that you've worked for, because it's people hear MSG Varsity, but they might not realize it was Cablevision. People hear Game Changer, they might not realize that's Dick's Sporting Goods. People hear Huddle and don't realize how massive of a company that is. They hear USA Football and don't realize that the NFL is one of the biggest backers of USA Football. And so maybe talk about like the current landscape of youth sports and how big business is certainly focused in on it and affecting the landscape.
Yeah, gosh, I could take a step back. I just think about my own experiences first of playing, little league or rec basketball or I played tackle football. I don't think flag was really a big thing back when I was playing as a little kid. And the uniforms we had were just T-shirts with local sponsors, and you didn't really have that really cool experience. I've got old VHS tapes of me playing rec basketball with my mom with a video camera, and that's really it. And there was no live streaming, there was no highlight clips. It was all kind of manually done. And if you had a good coach at the high school level, they would do it for you. But so looking at it now, it's wild. I've got 2 children of my own, and seeing the evolution of the space, and everything's getting elevated, right? So you go from the high school and the college level, and you see, I'll talk on the high school side, you see live streaming, you've got Play on Sports and what they're doing from the NFL, NFHS, live streaming and getting high school games on network, which is really cool. And then you go from the Huddle aspect, which is like video analysis and highlights and really being able to dissect play and get kids exposure and access to playing at the next level. and then you ladder down, right? Game Changer. It's an app where you could score and stream baseball and softball, which is a really cool aspect. And you throw away that old scorebook for baseball and softball, and now you just have an app that could do that, and it allows parents who travel or work and can't make it to a game to be able to watch a game cast or a video. It's unbelievable where this industry has gone, and that brings in big brands and sponsors, and then more private equity money, and then you just see it just kind of evolve into a place where now these kids, starting from 4 or 5 years old all the way through their prep career, that up to college and beyond, they're getting this really professional experience and getting that exposure and access to things that like you and I probably didn't even know existed.
And it's funny, you raised the private equity piece, and that's something I don't think a lot of people realize is how deep private equity is getting into the world of youth sports. Maybe share a little insight from your perspective, and just educate our listeners a little bit about private equity and the role it's playing in youth sports.
Yeah. So I think in the big startup boom, right, these different sports tech companies come up and they see the total addressable market. So, you look in the U.S., there's 330 million people in the U.S. I think there's like 33 million in Canada. Those numbers could be off a little bit, but I'm kind of doing my own research now for RCX. But and then you look at K through 8th grade or K through 12 kids, and there's just a lot of opportunity there and these private equity groups look for opportunity with companies that have access to those types of that demographic, the athlete or the parents of those athletes, and it's just a huge opportunity, right? And I always go back to, I remember Huddle, like one of their really cool stories from one of their founders was saying they started out kind of building a product for the NFL. And one of their investors was like, hey, there's 32 NFL teams. Like there's thousands of high schools across the country. Why don't you cater to that group? And it's a much bigger market to attack. And they did that, and they've been really successful. And I think that's kind of been the playbook moving forward with these private equity groups, looking at, wow, the youth rec space, whether it's club sports, whether it's AAU basketball, travel soccer, the Pop Warners, the UIFLs of the world on the football side, Parks and Recs, YMCAs, Boys and Girls Clubs, all have access to millions of kids. And it's just, it's just a great opportunity to invest in some of these tech companies, some of these other companies that kind of cater to that group.
And you hit the nail on the head when it comes to the aggregation of participation and the aggregation of data, right? I do think a lot of private equity groups see that and see that as a great opportunity, but I don't think they realize how challenging it is to truly aggregate participation across the United States. If you said, hey, listen, I want to go out and I want to, and you see it with organizations like 3Step, they went out and they bought a number of clubs and events and different entities. And I think it's really hard to then repackage and actually monetize, that aggregation of data.
Yeah, I think it's funny. Just because there's this massive total addressable market doesn't make it easy, right? It's fragmented. There's so much choice involved with these athletes and the parents that play, and then repackaging, to your point, like the 3Step, buying a bunch of clubs and events and looking to, there's been a bunch of companies that have tried to consolidate the space over the last 10, 15 years. And very few have been successful because it is challenging that you have to fully understand the youth sports landscape. And each particular sport is different. Like you look at soccer and the club space and the rec space, two completely different animals. And how do you attack those markets? In the football, flag football has become a massive growth driver on the youth and rec space. Like, who are the big players there? How are you attacking those opportunities? basketball, same thing. You've got the club basketball, you've got the Nike circuit, the EYBLs of the world doing their thing. And you really have to like almost have like experts in those particular programs or sports to help grow. And I don't necessarily know the consolidation of all that works, right? Because it's so niche. Every single sport is so niche when it comes to that. And that's what we're, a challenge that we're facing at RCX. And it's been a really cool challenge to really to grow our programs by sport and bringing in industry experts and people who understand the intricacies of those particular programs and sports to help grow them.
And I think that's what one of the most interesting things that you guys have at RCX Sports. And for those just kind of tuning in, Mark Robinson is the VP of League Growth at RCX Sports. RCX Sports has partnerships with the NFL, the NBA, the NHL, MLB, and operates a number of their youth programs and licensed youth programs through like NFL Flag or NHL Street Hockey, MLS Go. And one of the challenges, as you identify for somebody like Three Step, is they haven't had the ability to successfully take, let's say, their 10 lacrosse clubs and rebrand them under one lacrosse umbrella brand. The great thing that RCX has been able to do is you've been able to successfully brand all of these programs with your professional league partner. So the NFL Flag leagues or the junior NBA leagues. Maybe talk about, give us a little bit of insight about your current, role in RCX Sports and what you guys have coming in 2025.
Yeah, it's a really interesting concept, and I'll take a step back. All these professional leagues, the big buzzword around the industry is multi-sport, getting kids playing different sports, and the idea of seasonality, and like, let's get them in football, let's get them in basketball, soccer, lacrosse, whatever it may be. And these professional leagues have really bought into that notion of getting well-rounded kids, getting them outside, getting them playing, exercising, all that good stuff. And really, I'll start with the NFL because that's our most mature program in NFL Flag. But Izell Reese, our CEO, met with the NFL. We were able to work out a relationship, a partnership where RCX Sports would basically be the conduit to rec NFL Flag programs across the country. And that's really how it started, right? So we basically have partnered with every professional league across the country. And what we do is we go into the rec space and build an elevated experience for the rec sports programs across the country. And we work directly with Parks and Recs, YMCAs, Boys and Girls Clubs, police athletic leagues, clubs, independent operators. You mentioned Three Step. If they've got soccer clubs that they work with or flag operators that they work with, we work with them to put those kids in professional jerseys. We call it play like the pros. So in the NFL Flag, you wear an NFL Flag jersey, you get a flag belt, you get footballs for every 10 kids. Same with MLS Go and NHL Street Hockey and Junior NBA League. So it's really elevating the rec sports experience for the youth. Like I said earlier, it's not just wearing a t-shirt with a local sponsor anywhere. You get some really cool sublimated jerseys and an opportunity to play like the pros.
And maybe take that a couple steps further. So as a young athlete, you have a chance to certainly play like the pros and or wear the professional brand. But what other experiences are you guys delivering to those athletes' families?
Yeah, obviously working with the professional leagues has its perks, and they are invested at the grassroots level with the rec athletes. And so we work with local clubs and teams in specific markets, and they have unique opportunities, whether it's tickets to a game, bringing out the mascot to a tournament or a league play, the cheerleaders, things like that. it runs the gamut, depending on the market, the team, and the league. And the other interesting thing, and those are really cool opportunities for the kids and getting access to professional athletes and being able to go to games and things like that at a really low cost, high value opportunity. But also RCX, we just launched RCX Foundation, which is giving back and offering scholarships to athletes and teams who might not be able to afford playing in the rec space. MLS Go also has a play fund, they call it, that does the same thing, and we've partnered with them, and we'll be partnering with the rest of the pro leagues soon enough to kind of continue to find affordable, high level access to rec sports across the country.
As you think about the industry, and obviously we're on the show Sponsorable, and we're focused on Sponsorable at looking at the business of youth sports. How does RCX approach the business side of youth sports? Obviously, you are a for-profit entity. You do have a foundation. But maybe let's talk a little bit about the monetizing. How does RCX currently look to monetize the sports industry?
Yeah, so our big is low cost, high value opportunities for athletes, right? And so it's a really pretty simple business model. We charge by individual athlete. So basically, if you're a league operator, you're a Parks and Rec, and you decide to come on and start an NFL flag league, we charge $30 per athlete, and we don't get that money until you finish registration. You've got 100 kids that decide to sign up. That $30 gets taken out of whatever you charge the parent for the fee to play in that league. And we just take $30 and that, it gets you the jersey, it gets you the flag belt, it gets you the 2 footballs per 10 athletes. And it's been listen, a lot of companies out there who run leagues or are trying to get into the youth rec space, they see huge opportunity to monetize that. I think what is special about RCX is like we keep our margins really slim because we want it to be accessible. We want it to be affordable. We do everything we can to keep costs down. We have got our own warehouse, our own supply chain. We're constantly looking for vendors to make sure that our costs are really low. And then to point the RCX Foundation, being able to provide scholarships to kids and get them in uniforms. And obviously the help from our pro leagues and being able to subsidize certain things and teams and clubs have helped out across the board as well. It's a pretty straightforward business model. And we've seen a lot of success in it. And it's about volume, right? I mean, we talked earlier about the total addressable market, and that's how we kind of, are able to keep our costs down and our margins pretty slim, and keep the lights on.
Yeah. And I mean, to your point, I would have to believe that value prop of being the professional league kit for around $30 a player is a tremendous value because it's inspirational, right? I mean, what young athlete doesn't want to play for, their favorite NFL team or MLS team? And it likely does a great job for the teams in inspiring fandom, right? And engaging the youngest population at the age of 6, 7, 8 years old, and not just your local team, but starting to target on all of the teams that play within that professional league.
You're spot on, right? So I have a 4-year-old son, played flag football this year, Kansas City Chiefs. He gets a Kansas City Chiefs kit, shorts, jersey. He's now a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I'm a Giants fan. It pains my heart, but they created this fan, right? Because now he's playing like Travis Kelce or Patrick Mahomes, and you get that. You see him on TV, they're wearing the same jersey. And it's across the board where it's MLS with Lionel Messi. It's, junior NBA. My goodness, the NBA is up, it has blown up and is rivaling the NFL. And these kids jump at the opportunity to play like the pros and look like the pros, right? And it creates lifelong fandom. for these leagues and these teams and clubs. And it's just a win-win across the board. And they see the value in it. And I'm on a call every week with our pro partners and then a lot of the local market teams that we work with and clubs. And they're constant. What else can we do? How can we continue to affect the youth in a positive way at the grassroots level? So we're constantly evolving and looking at different ways, but it's been a huge success so far.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't think of a more impactful way than week in, week out on football fields or ball fields across the country, having those teams' brands being worn by children in meaningful competition, where they have a chance to emulate, right, their favorite professional athletes. Like I feel like that is such a great moment for pro sports and youth sports.
Man, I wish I had this when I was a kid. That's the ultimate right there. I'm like looking at it like, man, this is awesome.
And then and that's clearly the rec market as you think about, recreation, adoption of the different, NFL flag or MLS Go programs. But I think at NFL flag, you guys have even taken it to the next level where you partner with some of the NFL's biggest moments or events, i.e., Super Bowl or draft. Maybe talk about, how from a partnership standpoint, you guys work with the NFL around some of their bigger moments.
Yeah, the NFL has been great to work with for a lot of reasons. Obviously, you look at you put the shield on anything, and it's incredible, powerful sports brand, probably the most popular sports brand in the world, and so their partnership has been huge. So NFL flag, right? We talk about rec and league play, but there's also this component, and look at like the Little League World Series as an example. You've got these kids playing in the Little League, and then they build an all-star team, or the best team in that league, and they go and play in a super regional, and then they go to the Little League World Series in Williamsport. The NFL and NFL flag and RCX, we've done the same thing, right? And we've done a really good job of tying our regional play to the 32 teams and being able to play those in those markets. And then the final, the national championship, has been around Pro Bowl, or we've most recently did it at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which was an incredible experience this summer. And it's all tied in, right? And then the NFL comes in with their relationships, with their brand relationships, and then also their network relationships. We were able to be on NFL Network and ESPN and televise some of those finals, both on the female side and the male side. So it's been a really, really great partnership. And you see like the power of the league and what you could do and accomplish if you put together a really good product. And NFL flag and kudos to the clubs and the operators and the rec leagues that put together these teams, because it's great play, great athletes, good camaraderie, everything that you want to see in youth sports. And then it just elevated to the next level in this national tournament.
And as you guys look at corporate partners, maybe talk a little bit about some of your corporate partners and explain, if you don't mind too, maybe how those partnerships work. Are those NFL relationships? Is it RCX?
Yeah, it really depends on the professional league that we work with. The NFL runs point on a lot of our strategic partnerships and our brand partnerships. I will say that we've got an incredible partnership with Toyota. Toyota has done a great job of working with their local dealers to provide opportunities for young kids in the NFL flag side across the country. And it's been an awesome relationship, and just they are a catalyst in growing NFL flag across the country. So working with the groups like Toyota, Oakley, they've been really. Build a Sign is another one that has really embraced the rec space and been able to offer really high value opportunities and product to our league operators across the country.
That's awesome. I think back to my time working with the NFL and NFL flag and recall that, we would bring in some brands like FedEx came out and did a great activation with like Eric Dickerson, and they actually drove their FedEx vans onto the field and had their FedEx folks deliver packages to the parents. It was ultimately one of my favorite activations to date. But the response from the parents was, they were so happy that a corporate entity was supporting their children and supporting their communities. And that's where I think, more corporate organizations like the Toyotas of the world, the fact that they're sponsoring and they're activating, they're not just slapping their logo on, is a tremendous, it's tremendous achievement for the youth sports industry, because we need more corporations seeing how the Toyota's doing it and then saying, hey, how do I develop a similar program to Toyota, but maybe in another sport or another program?
Yeah, I can't say enough about that relationship. And to your point, Garrett, I think you've got to thread the needle a little bit when it comes to corporate sponsors and partnerships. I think you don't want to just slap a logo on a flag or on a jersey and walk away. You want to have them be incorporated into the everyday grassroots marketing plan of for us, RCX and NFL flag and Toyota. Like, we're working together to grow the sport, and like that is amazing, right? To have a brand come in, put resources to it, work with their local dealers, sponsor local teams, and get them up and running with dollars, right? And that's impactful. Having activations at our national championship and really showing the value of the brand is huge, right? And so you want to have these groups that come in and they see a massive opportunity, and we talk about how many kids are playing sports, and we've got close to 1 million kids playing flag football across the country, and they see that, and they see dollar signs, but like anything, like, kids are savvy, parents are savvy. They want a true investment from brands and partners.
100%, and that's well said, because parents and kids know who is a true partner, an authentic partner, and who is just an advertiser, right? And we need, as a youth sports industry, we need more partners in the space. We need more corporate entities that are coming in and saying, hey, I'm going to sponsor, but I'm also going to come out and activate. I'm also going to bring some of the assets and some of the talent with me to activate, create better experiences for our youth. So well said on that side. Hey, Mark, thanks so much for spending the time with us today. And make sure if you're following us and you want to get in touch with Mark, make sure you can follow him on LinkedIn. All the links will be here in the podcast, as well as if you want to directly email him, we'll also drop his email into the podcast as well. Thanks so much, and until next time.